recorded a video about my father for Father's Day and realized there were so many things wrong with this video, so I had to re-record it. So yesterday, I found myself deciding at the last minute because I was looking for a particular item and I knew there's a Marshalls in Camden. So every now and again, I usually love taking the best scenic route to Camden, which is pretty much two notch all the way down. And on the way to Camden, really before you get to Elgin, there's a cemetery, and that's where my father is buried. And a part of me wanted to stop, but I have always been of the notion that that contains a shell of my father. It does not contain my father. My father, I believe, is in heaven. So I'm not gonna. I've never been the one for his birthday, for Father's Day. I have to stop by. Now, every now and again, I'll stop by, but for the most part, I don't stop by, and I don't feel anything wrong with that. So, but I find myself doing something that he used to do, which and I'll just share it with you. So on my way coming back from the store, Marshalls in Camden, I found myself looking at the gas stations and the gas station prices. For those of you who don't know, gas in Elgin is super cheap. And Daddy used to do that. Like Daddy, I remember when gas was 82 cents a gallon. And when gas started getting a little high, whatnot. And so Daddy, I remember we were going out somewhere. And every now and again when I would be riding with him or I was driving somewhere with him, he would say, let's go to Elgin to fill up. So so it was an IGA, and I think it's still there. Now the IGA is definitely still there, but the gas station that was in front of the IGA, I don't know if it's still there. He would go there, and keep in mind now, y'all, we lived in Columbia, South Carolina, off of Clemson Road in Winchester. So you're talking about a good 20, 30 minutes to get gas. And my mom would be looking at like, you're passing out all these gas stations to save 10, 20 cents. And my dad was like, mm-hmm. And that's the type of man he was. So like literally as I'm coming back, that memory flooded me because as I'm driving back, I deliberately stopped, not that IGA gas station, but the BP, I believe in BP gas, it was 263 in Elgin. So then I started just a flood of memories just started coming back. How I'll never forget when I would ask Daddy, like Chris Rock's father on Everybody Hates Chris. That was borderline my dad. Like I never forget complaining the heat was too low. Daddy bought me an electric blanket. Like we're not cutting this heat up. You just get an electric blanket. I remember when I didn't need a car, but my parents knew I needed a car. I had a car I was driving. It was a Privia van. But they knew the van was getting up there in age. I mean, parts went up in age to get it fixed, to repair. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to get you a car. Daddy, I think it was like an Auto Trader website or something like that. And Daddy went on the website and got me, I remember like a 94, maybe a 92 Honda Civic, but it had no air and it was a stick shift. And I love my daddy, but he was not the most patient teacher. So I definitely not learned a stick shift from him. And then on top of that, it had no air. You don't drive a car in South Carolina and don't have air. So I remember my mom saying to him, we're going to get her a new car. So I ended up getting like a 2000 Nissan Sentra. I remember it was ice cappuccino was the color. But Daddy, and granted, my daddy was not a cheapskate to a point, but if he can cut corners, like he very rarely bought a new car himself. So because he very rarely bought a new car himself, that's why he looked at me like, we gonna get her a used car. But I don't remember this. My mom told me the story how the only new car she remembers my dad buying was, if I'm not mistaken, it was a Mazda 626. I want to say they bought this car at 83. And I say 83 because she said she was pregnant with my brother then. And she said how Daddy, when they were driving the car into the parking lot to trade it in for the Mazda 626, the car was catching on fire. And they still allowed Daddy to trade this car in. Like, what? And then from there, I just remember going through his car history. There were always used cars. Like he was determined he was not buying a new car. But and granted, we had an awesome, beautiful, blessed life. Like when I think about some of the vacations we went on, and no, we didn't go out the country, but something simple as we went to Disney World and Epcot multiple times. I remember us going to Virginia Beach and Washington, D.C., Ocean City, Maryland. We went on some really nice trips. But he would also, when it came to clothes, Daddy would dress nice, but there were some things he just would not let go of. And it was his pair of jogging pants. I wish we had a picture of him in that. Daddy had on a button-down collared shirt and these jogging pants with this huge yellow stripe. And we're looking at, me and my sister, we were going out to dinner, and we said, no, go back and change. And he was like, whoa, what's wrong with it? And me and my sister were like, what's wrong with it? It's tacky. And then my mom's like, I always tell him, but he doesn't listen to me. So it's like he would do little stuff like that. But for the most part, my daddy could dress. But it's because he's like, it's comfortable. I'm like, Daddy, you don't wear jogging pants with a collared button-down shirt. Like, that's no. But it's stuff like that that just had me going down memory lane. And you know, the reality is I do miss him. For those of you who know me, I lost my father tragically and suddenly. 2007, I lost my father. Matter of fact, the anniversary of his death is coming up in a few weeks. And it's one of those things where I'll admit, I don't think you ever get over it. You just get through it. I also believe that there's a peace that surrounds me that I can sit and laugh. I will admit earlier when I was playing a video, I was putting together my memorial Father's Day video for him, and TikTok automatically put Dance with My Father again by Luther Vandross. And it took everything in me not to bawl, but a part of me is like, am I crying because of the song, or do I really miss my father like that? And I wouldn't say I didn't allow myself to cry. The tears just didn't fall, but I did get emotional listening to that. Because that's one song to this day, if I don't have to listen to that song, I don't. I don't. Other people, like, yeah, I don't. That song just takes to a place emotionally I don't like to be. But again, it's a beautiful thing to bask in the blessings and to say I had an opportunity to have an awesome father.